The U.S. military and American society as a whole is once again being transformed by the experience of war. As an institution, the military is grappling with a phenomenon it has labeled irregular warfare to distinguish the insurgent and terrorist tactics of a non-uniformed adversary that fights hidden in populations from those of standing armored formations led by officers under a state authority. Signs abound that the challenges of this type of warfare are being taken seriously. A new manual has been issued on counterinsurgent operations, role-playing civilians figure prominently in training exercises, and irregular warfare has been given a central place in the Pentagon's current strategic examination called the Quadrennial Defense Review. The implications for remaking much of the military's organization, training, and doctrine are huge. Foreign language training is just one example of a critically needed basic skill for fighting human networks. The officer and NCO Corps contain many well-educated and motivated Americans, and the institution has enshrined a process of learning lessons. But the thorny problem and the magnitude of retooling cannot be overstated. It requires a sea change from warfare based on mass, hardware, and even technology. Some of the most valuable lessons are ones from Vietnam that were forgotten or never learned, and which need to be relearned, ironically just as the memory of that war is fading from the nation's consciousness. Special Operations Forces, and in particular the oldest component unit, the U.S. Army Special Forces, have pioneered skills and developed the mindset needed to contest what is essentially a war for the human mind, in which influence is a more potent force than bullets. The Special Forces have been focused on this type of warfare since their founding in 1952. Some of their equipment, training, and techniques can be readily imparted to the larger military community, and indeed such adoption is proceeding apace in both Iraq and Afghanistan. I rode with a conventional unit from Alaska, whose task it was to probe village loyalties and coax information from recalcitrant Pashtun elders in the barren mountains of the Coast Province along the Pakistan-Afghan border. I saw similar attempts to penetrate the semi-rural Badlands west of Baghdad, where a young medic stitched up an Iraqi whose arm had been severely hacked after he dared to report to soldiers the burning to death of a teacher working to get out the vote. Some roles cannot be replicated for the simple reason that even the brightest and best 19-year-old soldier cannot exercise the same judgment, influence, and versatility as a seasoned Special Forces sergeant in his 30s or 40s. These carefully selected and time-tested men prove most effective when they are given the latitude required to tailor a solution to the problem of the moment. While there are no panaceas, the 12-man Special Forces team provides the most adaptive tool the military has invented for irregular warfare. Thus, it is no surprise that the Special Forces are in great demand. Many of them have been sent 4, 5, and 6 times to Iraq and/or Afghanistan. A more rapid expansion of their ranks is possible and desirable with sufficient resources and at a measured pace, but it is just as important to uphold the quality of individuals selected and their extensive training, and not to break this tool through overuse. As the rest of the military develops its areas of expertise within the realm of irregular warfare, the Special Forces will likely be called to take up missions they are uniquely able to perform and which they have historically performed, behind hostile lines, undercover, in countries where trouble is brewing but still under the radar. When Charlie Cleveland, one of the soldiers in this book, was promoted to general in May 2005, he told his guests at the Fort Bragg ceremony that the Special Forces are one of the most potent and relevant forces on the battlefield today. This was not chest-thumping. Cleveland was merely making an observation that has become widely accepted in the wake of their performance in Afghanistan and Iraq. He then issued 2 important calls to overcome parochialism. He called for the special operations community to move beyond the internal rivalry that has divided its so-called white or unclassified special forces groups and its black classified units, such as Delta Force. The fact is that the former have also conducted secret missions throughout their history, and there is quite enough work to occupy them all. Cleveland's second call was to, in effect, bid farewell to the tight-knit Special Forces community, as he emphasized that the duty of a general officer is to look out for the interests of the entire military and the country. That is exactly the spirit required to navigate the daunting challenges of this era.